Okay, great. So good afternoon, everybody. 8 of us in the room. I know a few people have sent their apologies because of work commitments they've had to duck out. As I've said previously, don't worry. You can always catch up with the recording if you can't make a session. And so if you're not here with us in person, here we are in the second session. So we're just going to kick today off just as a bit of recap and a review from last week. Set you all a little bit of a homework task to go and have a play with a few slides, really, to apply what we covered last week, which was really all around the chunking the slides, chunking the sections, chunking the overall presentation. Now, I'm not going to go through all of you blow by blow. I am going to ask for any volunteers in a minute who might be willing to show us if you've got a presentation. If you haven't got one, don't worry. But first of all, give me your thoughts, observations. Does anybody have any questions, any issues? How did it go?
Yeah, I've got one, Ian. And I'm sure there's an obvious easy way of doing this, but I was having trouble where you have the underlining or you have the circle, where you draw the circle with a hand. Am I making sense?
Yep.
Sorry, you draw the ellipse, if you like, using the pointer pen.
Yep.
Is there a special way of doing that in terms of sequence? Because I found myself spending a long time, which goes first and which goes last.
Okay.
Or is there anything?
Let's get onto that in a minute. That's a good point. Let's just start at the very beginning. So you had a presentation, you had a number of slides. So the first question is simply this: did you all manage to just break the slides down into kind of around about 80 words to identify your length and get your sections sorted? How did you find that? Did that go okay? Was that difficult?
I found that pretty good, Ian. I found that quite useful. I was testing my own slides and then checking and counting and trying my hardest, and I did pull a few words out as a result of that. Yeah. Okay,
thank you, Keith. Anybody else?
I thought it was quite good. I went through it. It was an old presentation I'd done, and I took all these and that sort of stuff out of it and counted the words, and basically I've just got it down to the words now, but most of that looks like it'll be text at the back on the notes.
Excellent. Thank you, Ralph. Anybody else?
Yeah, I started with several different presentations and kept changing. And in the end, I chose one subject for a toolbox talk and virtually started from scratch because mine are too wordy, simple as that. So I did start from scratch and recreate the whole thing. And although it's very simple black and white, I think I got the chunking and the sections reasonably good, and basically copied the speech down into the notes at the bottom.
Excellent. So when you were doing that, Glenn, you were then starting to look to try and cut down the words, were you, in paraphrasing maybe? That's what you're doing, were you?
I virtually took the words out and left it to just almost bullet prompts. And then I was going to expand in the notes at the bottom.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Glenn. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Go on,
sorry,
Dave.
Ian, it's Dave. Yeah,
go on, Dave.
We're looking at to make our method statements into these presentations. So I got hold of one of them and made it into the chunking and the bits and pieces. So it was very wordy initially, but using the tools and the chunking stuff, I'm quite happy what I ended up with. So
excellent.
Just need to do the animations and pictures bit on top of it. Now it's all words at the moment.
Excellent. That's fine. That was as far as we wanted you to get. So well done, Dave. Anybody else?
Also, Lee has sent a message in the chat that everything was fine with him. There was only one thing: he couldn't remember how to convert notes to audio app.
Say that last bit again, please, Rania. But by the way, everybody, I should have introduced my colleague Rania is with us this afternoon. So Rania I've asked her to come along because she is going to be available for all of you after today's session to help with any tech. We're going to start to get you to post things online after today's session. So as you do that, Rania will be on hand to actually help you answer questions, hold your hand if there's any issues. So I wanted her to come along. She's also going to help with a quick demo this afternoon. So this is Rania.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Rania.
I,
So that last bit again, Rania, for me.
The message from Lee is that the only thing that he couldn't remember is how to convert notes to audio app.
To audio app. I think that he may be talking about creating actual audio. If that's the case, we didn't actually cover that last week. We are going to cover it this week.
That's the case, yeah, that's the case.
If it's something slightly different, which what it could be is how you convert notes into the audio script. We talked about you get your audio script in the notes section. What is it actually going to be heard? And then your bullets on the actual screen is what's going to be seen. So what we said was get your notes section first, the full script, so to speak, copy and paste that, put that onto the slide, and that's where you then cut down visually, paraphrase your points, so there's less words actually seen than potentially are going to be heard. So there's maybe two things there. I hope I've covered it in one of those comments. Okay, fine. Anybody else?
Yeah, just to mention, Ian, obviously I couldn't talk to everyone last week, but I've caught up now. So yeah, did a lot of chunking on ours, used an old PowerPoint presentation, and you quite easily got it down, so it was a lot more visual, and it was just key points that were on the slides. So yeah, pretty happy with that now. Is
anybody up for showing the group your presentation, what it actually looks like now? Anybody up for that?
Yeah, I don't mind, yeah.
Go on then, Matt, as you're there, if you see down at the bottom, there's a share your screen, you can just click on it.
No, I don't have that on mine. Might be because I'm through the app.
I think I've got that wrong, actually.
I'd normally have that, but I don't have it.
I've messed up. We're in Zoom, and we're not in Zoom meeting, actually. We're in Zoom webinar. I should have come in the meeting room. Sorry, you can't do that, Matt.
No problem.
That's my mistake. Next week, I'll make sure we're in a meeting room and you guys can actually then come on. So apologies for that. So just generally speaking, is everybody therefore, sounds like you're all comfortable. One other question, are your presentations now looking a little bit different based having gone through this chunking and reduction? Are they looking a lot simpler, easier? Has it made a difference?
Yes, very much.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Excellent. If you learn nothing else and you take nothing else away from this training, that one thing alone will make a big difference to your presentations. Chunking, keeping things down to their minimum in terms of slides, sections, and overall programs. It will be a big help to you. So as we can't look at your actual slides, please feel free, if they're emailable, send them over to me and I'll have a quick look and I'll give you a thumbs up or any pointers, and I'll give you some individual feedback after today just to check that you're on the right line. But it sounds like you've got the hang of that. That is brilliant. So in this session then today, what we're going to do is move on.
Ian, can I just ask? I've just got a black screen here with names popping up. Are we supposed to be seeing you?
Yeah, we will in a second. I'll share my screen.
Okay, then it's...
Yeah, no worries. Let me share my screen so it's not quite so disconcerting. So you should see my screen, everyone. Everyone see it? Yeah, Rania?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Right, so what we're going to do is this week, as we said last week, I'm going to introduce this week more of the graphical element of this whole production toolkit. I did send all of you in the summary last week some links to the visual toolkits. Did everybody get that and manage to download those to their computer? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Excellent. So what I'm going to be doing this week then is showing you around these toolkits and demonstrating how you actually use them. And Keith, this will hopefully answer the question that you were raising earlier, but if it doesn't, then please shout and we'll go back and make sure that we've covered it. Okay, so visual storytelling in a nutshell means show don't tell. So obviously telling is with the text bullet points, which is where most of these, you know, death by PowerPoint is all these bullet points. That having said that, I'm not totally against bullet points. I think they are still essential, that you still need them, but you shouldn't be totally reliant on them, and they shouldn't be the main thing. So visual storytelling, as its name suggests, is all about being able to get your message across visually. And we know from the science that you know, visuals are a much more, it's just an easier way for the human brain to take information in. It also has the massive advantage of the average reading age out there in the UK working population is somewhere around 12 to 13 years of age. And that is the average. So the way we've always worked at Human Focus is we assume that the reading age of most of our trainees is really quite low. And so we try not to rely too much on the written word, and we try to keep it as visual as possible. So that is what this session today is all about. So what I'm going to do to kick this off is show you a short video. And this is actually from a company called Bright Carbon. They are a really excellent company. I would strongly recommend that you go and have a look at Bright Carbon's website, because they've got lots of free training, and they specialize in this whole area of visual storytelling, and in particular visual storytelling through PowerPoint. And we actually use some of their videos to train our own people in production. So this is an 8-minute video that introduces visual storytelling, and I just can't do a better job than this guy from Bright Carbon. So let's have a quick look at this. Then when we've watched this, what we're going to do is we're going to use the toolkits that I've sent you, and we'll see how we can use these principles in terms of our particular field. So let's just have a quick look at this. Please just shout okay, Rania, if this is showing and coming across okay as I start it, all right?
Yeah.
To convert a paragraph of text into a visual slide, we think there are 4 key aspects you need to identify. We call them the players, the scene, the punchline, and the action. Let's look at each of these in turn and see how to identify them and how to represent them on the slide, starting with the players. The players are any entities in your story that you can easily represent with graphical objects. You can easily spot characters, people or roles or companies, which can be represented with photos, icons, or logos. Then you could identify objects or the name of a product or service, which you can represent with an icon or picture, or a text label if it's something quite abstract. You might also be using a direct quote, which should be something short and to the point, so it doesn't take the audience too long to read it. And you might also be referring to locations. These could be physical locations like places on a map or buildings, or more abstract locations like an objective or target. You might also be able to spot some data, values, dates, and other concrete measurements, as well as more abstract measurements that you could quantify, like amount of effort or level of risk. What all these ideas have in common is that you can represent them with a visual device that's easily recognizable to the audience. Once we've figured out who the players are, we move on to setting the scene. The scene is the way in which you're going to lay out the players on your slide. If you're showing data, graphs are the most obvious way to do this, either a simple bar or line graph, a 3D chart, a pie chart if you're showing percentages that all add up to 100, or a matrix to show different regions where the players might sit. If you're not showing hard data, but you have dates, then perhaps you could build a timeline of events. Or you could build a simple flow diagram in a linear way which shows steps from A to B, or a cyclical process that repeats itself. If there isn't a clear sequence of events, you could just lay out the players in a 2D or 3D space, or arrange them in a hierarchy to show how ideas fit together. Or you might just need to show one static image or quote that speaks for itself. Then you might have scenes that show relationships, like a cluster or Venn to show how things overlap, or a jigsaw to show how different ideas combine, or a balance to show a causal relationship between two things, or a push-pull interaction between them. You might also have different variations on any of these scenes, or combinations of them on a single slide. Once we have a slide in mind, we need to think about the punchline. The punchline is the overarching message behind the slide. Which benefit in your value proposition are you trying to prove with this story? It might be about saving money or making money, reducing risk or improving quality, or operational benefits like efficiency or flexibility. But whatever it is, you need to keep this benefit in mind and work out whether you're explaining why it's important, what's involved, or what kind of results come from it. Being clear about this will help you to determine the end point of your sequence and ensure the overall impression of the slide fits the benefit you're trying to prove. Keeping that in mind, we then have to direct the action. The action is the animation that you'll use to change the scene and move the players around to make your point. You might be adding elements to the scene or removing them, making things larger or smaller, moving things around, or merging them together, connecting two or more ideas, highlighting the most important aspect, or you could have something being transferred or given from one place to another, or something that replaces or transforms into another. All of these types of actions and more can be achieved with simple PowerPoint animations. So this is the schematic that we've put together to help you come up with some visual ideas for your messages. You could think of this as a visualization process. Identify your players, sketch out the scene, consider the punchline, and then think about the action. But be prepared to change your mind as the slide develops. Sometimes when you figure out the best actions, you might realize that the emphasis isn't quite right for the punchline, or that you could come up with a better scene to make the point more clear. So try to use this schematic as a guide for brainstorming and inspiration rather than a flowchart. Let's try it with a real-life example. Here's an explanation of how moving to a paperless accounting software solution can make a company more efficient. So first, let's try and identify some players. I can easily pick out account staff and have a picture to represent them. There are some objects, the paper invoices and receipts, etc., and our product, the accounting software, which can also be an icon or a picture. Then we've got some measurables. It talks about high effort and also about accuracy or inaccuracy. Now we've got the players, let's see what kind of scene we can come up with. My pictures of the accountant, the papers, and the software can all sit in a two-dimensional space for now. And then I've got different levels of effort and accuracy, which I can show as two bars. Now the punchline will show me how I need the sequence to finish up. I'm using this slide to prove that our product can improve efficiency. And I can use the information I've got to explain why. The final build, the final impression, has got to involve the accountant, the software they're using, and the low effort and high accuracy they gain when they use it. Now, in order to get to that point, I need to work out how the action is going to play out. Straight away from looking at the text, I can see that I need to talk about replacing the paper-based model with the software model. So I want to show the stack of papers first and then replace them with the software. I've got effort starting off high, but then it gets reduced when they switch. So this bar can shrink. And I've got accuracy starting off low with lots of mistakes, but then accuracy goes up after they start using the software. So this bar will grow. Now let's have a look at the finished slide in action. So if you do your accounting manually with a paper-based process, it takes a huge amount of effort and can lead to errors and inaccuracies. But if you move to our system, it reduces the burden on your staff, vastly reduces the amount of administrative effort, and ensures a high level of accuracy by automating all the calculations. So a pretty clear bit of visualization there, just using a 2D layout with a simple bar graph to show what happens when you replace one scenario with another. And the final build here captures the overall message.
There you go. That in a nutshell is visual storytelling. So now don't be worried about this. Is some of all that, you know, those elements can look a bit complex, but in a nutshell, that's it. And you can see that end result there is just, well, it's night and day. I think you'd agree. He started off with this and ended up with this. You see the improvement there, and some very simple graphics, which I'm going to demonstrate how you can easily put something like this together. The main job of work is really just to figure out what it is you want to convey visually. And so the biggest challenge really with visual storytelling is actually figuring out that there are these other elements, but it's this one here, the mantra within human value. What is the main player? What is the main player of this slide? What is it we want to actually come across? And if you can figure out your players or player, then you can usually work out what action and punchline you want to use to convey the message you're trying to get across. Any observations, comments about that? Is that clear enough?
Oh, that's very good, Ian. Yeah, I thought it was excellent. Well done.
They're really good, but as you say, it looks so easy when they do it.
Yeah.
But it's getting your head round where all these animations come from and how you put them in sequence.
Yeah.
So
Good point, Dave. And again, I'm going to show you one simple animation that will enable you to do all this afternoon. That's a good observation. Anybody else?
Where do you get that accounting software from? I've sold me.
Good one. All right, let's have a quick look. I'm going to build this up slowly, and demonstrate how this can actually work for you in practice. So I've just pulled this graphic off the web. You know, it's just a fancy infographic. The point is this: you know, once you start to create graphics, you need to be able to use simple animation to create those effects that we've just seen. And so for something like this is actually potentially a really great, you know, visual device. But from an e-learning point of view, it's very limited because it's too small. You know, you can't actually read any of the detail. And particularly by the time this gets onto a mobile device, it's going to be impossible. It's going to be illegible. So you saw in that little video a number of things. Did you notice how he was moving around his graphic? Player, actor, did you see that as he moved from one bit to the other?
Yeah.
Does anybody know how to do that in PowerPoint?
no.
Right, so this will all be new to all of you. Very, very simple. And again, I'll put this in a cheat sheet to you. This pretty much is the only animation skill you need to do all of what you've just seen. So what you do is this. Let's say you've got this graphic like this, and what you want to do is fly into each one of those years and then move to the next one and the next one as you're going to talk about it. Right. So you've got it on your first slide. Duplicate the slide. You see that? I've duplicated it. And there's this fabulous, you see on slide transitions up here. So this is the effect you get when you move from one slide to the next. And there's loads of them, and most of them you must never ever use. They're rubbish. They're really awful. But there's one here that is absolutely, it's a relatively new transition that's only relatively recently been added to PowerPoint. You will need a relatively recent version of PowerPoint, but if you upgrade and have got the recent one, it's called Morph. Anybody heard of that? Morph?
Yeah.
Right, so Morph is brilliant. It is the way you can do this. So what you do is select Morph. Now what Morph does is it says, right, if you've got something on this slide and you've got the same graphic on the next slide, it says, right, I understand that that is the same graphic. And if you move that graphic on, say, the second slide, what it'll do is go, oh, right, I know that that is the same graphic. And what I'm going to do when I transition is I'm going to move it across, or I'm going to change the scale. So let's say we want to fly into 1976 from that broad graphic. Yeah, so I'm just going to increase the size of the graphic. There we are, nice and big, even bigger, say. I'm now going to go on slideshow and go from the first to the second slide. So there we are on the first slide, and we go into the second one. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is just seconds, gentlemen. Absolutely dead easy. That's all you need. Morph, you can do everything you've just seen that guy do in that, you know. So then I duplicate the side again, duplicate. Let's say we want to go to 1979. I move it across to there. And then we want to go to 1980. I move it across to there. And then let's say we're happy with that, and we want to then come back out to the overall graphic. Right, once more. So that literally, I mean, that's taken what, 30 seconds. Play from current, first slide, into 1976, blah, 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 blah. We talk about that. Then we go to 1979. 1980, and then come back about. Really, really simple, really, really powerful. So let's say you saw that graph that he produced, yeah? So if I go to home, very simple. Let's say you've drawn a graph, and I've got snap to guide on there as we looked at earlier, so it makes it nice and easy for me. And let's bring this down. And let's say I've got that very simple, oh, sorry. So I've got a very simple double bar chart. And he did something like this, I believe. So one was like this, and let's say we change the color of that. So I'm going to duplicate that slide, and this graph is going to go down, and this one is going to go up. I put on morph between the two. Morph is on, slideshow. So, you know, blah, 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 accidents in our organization, and we've done this and we've done that, and the result of that is this.
Yay.
You see that? Seconds, absolutely. So this is just using morph. That's all we're doing. Morph, morph, morph. That's all you need to remember, morph. And the principle, as I said, behind morph is you have to keep the same graphic from one slide to the next. Because morph, what it's doing is saying, oh, I understand, that's the same box, it's the same graphic, you just want me to move it over here, or you want me to make it bigger or smaller or whatever. As long as it's the same graphic and you hit transition, there you go. You can move it from one to the next. Right, so let's start to just have a look at a very simple example of how we can use this visual storytelling approach that we've reviewed, using the PowerPoint toolkits that you've got, using pretty much only morph as the animation, just one animation effect. So let's suppose, gentlemen, that you've got a slide that looks like this. A standard, you know, text-based bullet point slide. It's not bad. It's got minimal text on there, so that's okay. But it's very, very wordy, and it's telling, not showing. So the first question is, what is the main actor or actors in this slide? Visually, what are the main actors or actor?
You.
Say again, please.
Operatives, people. Operatives.
Yeah.
Or people.
Anybody else?
You. It says the word you. That's the person receiving it. So am I right there? Is that what you're saying? Getting at?
Not really, no. Let me put it in a different way, a simpler way. What is the main thing we want to convey? What is the main concept here? What is the main physical thing that we want to demonstrate to people?
All the requirements.
Wearing it.
Wearing what? Wearing what?
PPE.
PPE is the main actor in this slide, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no more complicated than that. So don't overcomplicate things. What is, if I'm looking at this thinking, what visually do I want to show here? That's the main actor. And it's therefore, it's a very simple one. So we're talking about make sure you wear, and the main actor is your eye protection, your hard hat, your high vis, your glove. Those are the main actors. Those 4 bullet points in this instance. Right, so let's look at how we can actually visually storytellers. And I'm going to do this absolutely live to show you how quick this is. So let's go to a blank slide. Just going to close this down. So I'm going to go to the workplace toolkit. Remember this one?
Yeah.
I'm going to grab a background. You grab whatever background you want, but in this instance, I'm going to create this as my background. I'm then going to go to, we need a person, yeah? So the main actor is the PPE, but we need a person probably. You don't have to, but I'm going to get a person and I'm going to put the PPE on the person, all right? So I'm going to go to the human figures toolkit. You saw all of these figures? You had a quick look at this, yeah?
Yeah.
So you can grab any of these. You've got them in pre-defined poses, and feel free to do that. They're there. They've got different postures. But down the bottom, I just wanted to point this out. We have what they're called mannequins. You possibly saw these where they're all cut out with the different limbs.
Yeah.
And you possibly wondered what on earth is this for? Well, let me show you. So I'm going to take this guy here, right? So you've actually got them as cutouts here, but over on the left, you've got them completely assembled. So what you do is you drag over it and you get all the body parts like that and you go copy. So I've grabbed him, come back to my slide here and put him on the background. See that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Now, remember morph? So I'm going to duplicate that slide. See this little thing at the top of the box? Are you familiar with what this does? You grab any picture.
Rotate.
That's
the anchor.
it. I'm going to rotate his arm. Oh, sorry. I'm going to rotate his arm. I'm going to rotate his hand. Okay. Guess what that's going to do? We've got morph on. slideshow. Here he is in his workplace.
Oh, yeah.
See what you can do with a mannequin.
Yeah, good.
Cool.
I'm now going to go duplicate that slide again. This can get a little bit tricky. It's a little bit fiddly, but I've selected him, all of him, and I've made him bigger. Actually, let me just undo that. I think there's an easy way of doing that. You just go arrange group. Yeah. I think that will work. Let's have a go. So here he is. He's standing in his workplace. Yeah. You need to ungroup. One more time.
Yeah.
Now, that's our human figure. So you can play around with mannequins, you can make them move, you can fly into them. All I'm doing is using one animation effect, morph, yeah? Now, you will recall that we also have the props toolkit, and you've got a whole bunch of PPE here. So I'm going to, I'm copying a glove. Oh, copy that glove. Just put that in your hand. I believe the bullet points were around gloves. Let's have a look. What did we say? Eye protection, hard hat. So let's get a hard hat. Drop his hard hat on. Eye protection. You may just have to scale these to fit. High-vis jacket. But these have all been designed so that they'll just all fit on each other, and they're all on transparent backgrounds. Okay? Now, I am going to use I said I'm only going to use one, but the order is eye protection, hard hat, high vis. So if you come onto this and you go to, I'm sure you're familiar with this, just a simple dissolve in. You familiar with these animations?
Yeah.
Okay, most of you saying yeah, some are saying no, but under the animation tab, there are very simple dissolve in, you can dissolve out. And so a very simple one is just stick with the simple one, dissolve in. So I'm going to dissolve those glasses in. Hard hat is the next one, dissolve in. And then it is high vis jacket, dissolve in, and gloves. And you select this by selecting the object and dissolve in. Right. Okay. Slideshow. From current, blah, 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 blah. Make sure that you wear your PPE. What is that PPE? Well, it's eye protection. It's a hard hat, high-vis jacket, and gloves. I got his high-vis jacket a bit wrong there, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
It's like a Walt Disney thing, isn't it?
How brilliant is that?
Very good, Ian.
That's great.
I've not used it, Ian. I've not used this before, so I wish I had done. It's brilliant.
So, Keith, you actually asked about sequencing of how you build stuff. So I think you can start to see the other great thing about Morph is it kind of splits your slides. So it builds it up layer by layer. So I started off with a scene setter, lifted his arm, I've then laid in my PPE. If you wanted then to use the pointer toolkit, which is this one,
Yes.
so this is where we've got all of the
yeah. This is where I had the problem.
right,
Yeah,
so let's have a quick look at this then. So you go down and find the one you want to that you want to use. Let's say it's this one here. You select it all. It's basically two elements: the hand and whatever the highlighter is. You copy it. Right, so you come into your slide where you want to place it. Go to your animations. See this animations tab, and go to this animation pane. Are you familiar with this? That shows you. Then
I think the thing is, sorry to interrupt again, Ian. I think the thing is, I don't think I've got this version of the PowerPoint. I'm sure I've not, unless I haven't it and I've not used it. I don't know.
Right, so this one that we're using is about PowerPoint. I'm on Mac, and this is version 16.3. So
Okay.
it is pretty much up to date.
Right.
This morph capability is in the last year or so.
Right. So that's why I haven't got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you will need to update. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but that is just the basic.
Yeah. It's got it. Yeah.
To date.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's not a lot of money, and it is a standard license, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
But having said that, this animation pane, I think, is pretty, unless you're using a really old one, you should have it on even older versions. There's nothing new about this. Basically, what the animation pane it shows you the sequence of your animations on your slide. So and it gives you a number. So this is the eyeglasses is 1, hard hat is 2, high vis 3, and the glove is 4. So let's say we now want to put that pointer on. So if I put the pointer, I'm just going to paste it. It's still highlighted, so don't unhighlight it. You need to move it to where you want to, let's say we want to highlight the glove, something about the glove. I'm putting it there. You see how now it's added 1, 2, 3 little animations at the end, which will be number 5.
Yeah.
Right, now let's suppose we actually want to make the glove, which is number 4, right? And we want to make that the first item that comes in. If you highlight it, and you've got these up and down buttons, so let's make the gloves the first one. So I'm moving glove up to 1, and I'm going to move basically these pointers are typically 3 little animations. Hand comes in, hand draws something, hand goes away. 1, 2, 3. So and they're all together or all sequenced together. So I'll highlight all of those 5, and I'll move those up into the number 2 position, or part of that. And you can also do this timing. So it's at the moment it comes in straight afterwards, but I'm going to do it on a click. So if I now, so you can move your animation sequences around. So if I show you, oops, if I show you this again. Got that wrong. I've got my thing out of sequence. Sorry. If you do get into trouble, just do this. Delete it. Which is what I've done. I've messed it up. Put it back in. There it is there. Those last 3 items. I've highlighted all 3, and I'm going to move those up into number 2. Right, there we go. And that first one wants to be on click. Right, here we go. That should work. From current slide. He lifts up his arm. Fly in. I've messed up that animation.
It's
idea.
I think it's 4 items, Ian.
Yeah, you're right. But you get the idea.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really good.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit, guys. And all you're doing is dragging and dropping some images across and using more, fly in and out and highlight the stuff. So
Ian, I think I'm still in quilt pen mode. I am, I think.
So you see how, I mean, you know, in minutes, we've gone from this, you know, to this, night and day. Now, you can still, if you want to, you know, if let's say you want a text box on there, there's nothing stopping you. I just do this. So this is going to be the audio, but I'll just very simply fill that with white. Move that over there, make it a bit smaller. Move that up there. And then you select that, and on fill, you've got this transparency. So just take it slightly see-through, sorry. So you can still have some bullets on there. There's nothing wrong with that. It just helps to, but you've told the story visually, and then you can bring the bullets in with the objects if you want, or just all in one go. But that's a highly engaging, highly visual slide that gets the message across in a much more intuitive way.
Yeah.
Everybody happy with that? You get the idea?
Yeah,
Yes,
great.
brilliant.
So what you're doing is you're dragging and dropping your backgrounds, your prop, deciding, you know, and then using morph to fly in and move around.
Yeah, that morph function's brilliant.
It is an absolute game changer, honestly. It is a game changer.
Yeah.
And that is what the guy in the bright carbon, I think you get to see how he did it now. He just moved around a simple graphic. He moved across from one to the other, and he had a bit of dissolving in of a few other bits and pieces, but it was basically all done with morph.
Yeah, and you can see what's great about it is you literally start with one slide. You know, you get one image and then you just put that into 10, 20 slides and just keep coming in and out. Yeah, brilliant.
And the way you can use this is just, it's the sky's the limit. You could take a photograph. I mean, let me just go back to this and take the fella away. Let me just duplicate it. But let's say, you know, this could be a photograph of your workplace. Just click on a mobile phone, import it in, and then you could go, right, what I'm going to do on this slide is I'm going to talk about that machine in the background there. And so you could highlight it up. Slideshow. And then you could layer over some text images, a pointer. And it's just very visual, very simple. And it's gone from just a static photograph where that bit of detail, because a lot of these, you know, just from a standard mobile camera phone, they're huge, high quality, high definition images that will easily stand being blown up, but to this extent, if not more. You know, you could, you know, Dave, you know, your method statements, you could easily go out into the workplace, take some photos, and then just use morph to fly in, use the pointer and put a few bullets on. Very visual, very simple. Any questions at this point?
No.
Okay, we're very close to taking the next step, which is actually putting some of this up onto publishing it out, which is where we said we wanted to get you today. There is one last thing that I want to show you, which is when you've built your presentation, the best way of getting it out to the outside world, you can export this as a PDF document, and you can post this online as a PDF document. And Ranya's going to show us how to do that but you can also export your presentation as a video. And if you do it as a video, it will retain all the animations that you've built in. So video and the human focus system with Content Builder is happily, it works on video basically. So I'm going to show you now how to export your presentation as a video. So let's say, I'm just going to, let's say, delete those slides, delete those for a minute. So let's say, oh, remember, you've always got Command Z, brilliant command, which is undo. So if you make a mistake, you can always go back. Let's have a look here. I just want to get rid of those two there. You're right. So let's go back. Let's suppose I want to now export my man that I've just produced with my, let's just do that as a dissolve in to finish that off. Right, I want to export this as a video that I'm going to push out as part of my little e-learning program. You go to File. No, you don't. Yes, you do. You go to File. Where's it gone? Export. You see that? Export?
Yeah.
File, Export. And here you can select how you want to, and you select MP4, which is, for those of you who are not familiar, that is just a video format. You can actually select different qualities. Internet quality will be fine. If you select presentation quality, that will be kind of like high definition. Internet quality is fine because that's what you're pushing it out as. You give you a name and you click export, and that's it. That's how you export your presentation as a video. Did you know how to do that?
No.
No.
There you go.
Can I just ask Ian?
Yeah.
On that one, you got the three. You got the presentation quality, which would probably be you using it through a projector.
Yeah.
In front of a group.
Yeah.
You got the internet quality.
Yeah.
What was the low quality? Is that what you probably?
Yeah, it's just if you wanted to send it to someone as an email.
Right, as a mobile type.
Yeah, it's something. It would be small enough to stick on an email, and you could say, "Hey," which is a great, potential little tool for you. Just, "Hey, guys or gals, just want you to remember this. Watch this short little video that will remind you what to do." You could do it that, and it will give you
like a LinkedIn thing.
It will give you a file small enough to potentially email. Depends on how many slides you've got, obviously.
Right, great stuff.
So this is one I made earlier in true Blue Peter style. So this is that graphic. Now what it does is the timing is on each slide is whatever you've set the transition to. So that is actually just a video. What's happened to the one that I just exported? Let's try that again. I don't know where that's gone to. Oh, I know why. Let's do that again. File, export. I'm going to call this 2. MP4. I'll do it as presentation quality so you can see it better. Export. That's it. So that should come onto my. Where am I putting that? It can put it in different places. So let's just check where that's going. That's the problem. 2. So you need to click, this is on the map, but you need to give it the destination of where you want to send it. So export again. There we go. Give that a second. And that's it. So that is how you will export your presentations as videos that are ready to go up onto the human focus system. Now, do you remember last week we said you could push these out, it could be a document, a PDF document where they read, they see, it's visual, that's fine, you've got pictures, text. But we also said you could put audio to it. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to just briefly show you before Rania actually just gives us a quick demo of how you get all this up online on Content Builder is I've just exported this as a picture only. There's no audio in it. But let's say you've got, I open up this one. So this is one which has got a little bit more. This is, by the way, anybody want this? This is a free template. We're giving away an infection control policy on coronavirus. But let's say a slide like this. And you know, with policy documents, there are just times where you just got to say, read this. We want you to read this and check you've understood it. It's just, you just got to do it. It's a compliance thing. So you could show this as a PDF, and it comes up and they read it and they say, yes, I've read it. You could do it as a video, and you could do it as a simple dissolve where each paragraph comes up on its own. But we could also put audio to this, and this is how you do it. And this is how quick and easy it is. You go scroll over your text. In this instance, I haven't actually put it in the note section, but let's do it now. Let's say this is the audio in the notes section. And for argument's sake, it is a complete duplicate we see on the slide. So I've copied it. You go onto the web and you will go to a site, and we'll send you the link of this, called Wideo, W-I-D-E-O. You paste your VO in, and what this does is it turns your text into a little audio text-to-speech.
We are committed to following the advice of Public Health England and applying comprehensive infection control measures. Our approach is underpinned by latest understanding of the science. This indicates that there needs to be a phased return to work approach to limit the risk of increasing the rate of transmission, often referred to as R above 1. We will regularly review the latest government guidance and adjust our infection control approach promptly.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's good because he doesn't sound that much of a robot either, which you'd expect.
They're getting really good. And to insert this in your PowerPoint, you just click this download MP3. Just check I've got that. Comes into your download folder. There it is there. So it's an MP3 file. And you just drag it and drop it onto your slide.
We are committed to following the advice of Public Health England.
See that?
Yeah.
And it comes up as a little icon like this, a microphone icon. You can just drag it off to one side. You don't need to see it. And you can see that this file it's literally as quick as that. So you can go through 20, 30 slides, go copy, paste, download, drag and drop, next one, copy, paste. So it takes minutes to do. You can see that this now it's 27 seconds long, right? So do you remember we talked last week about syncing between audio and visual?
Yeah.
So what we can now do is if I go to animation, I'm just going to do some very simple syncing between what we hear and what we see. So we know that this is 26 seconds long. So what I'm going to do is if I highlight that first paragraph and go dissolve in, it will appear. And I'm going to highlight the second paragraph, dissolve in, and that will appear. And then I will highlight the third paragraph, dissolve in. So each of those paragraphs will dissolve in one at a time. At the moment, one click at a time. Now, we know I could spend a lot of time trying to get them to marry up precisely, but we're not that bothered about it. But I'm guessing that this second paragraph is probably about 5 seconds long, and this one will take us to about 18 seconds. So I'm going to go, here we go. Remember animation, and you go to animation pane. So there is our audio. And I want this first paragraph, timing, to start when the audio starts. So I'm going to go with previous. And I'm going to go on the second one, and I'm also going to go with previous. And the third one, I'm also going to go with previous. But what I'm then going to do is this one here, I'm going to see this delay? I'm going to delay the second paragraph by about 5 seconds. So I'll click up to 5. And I'm going to delay the second one. It's 26 seconds. I'm going to, I don't know, up to about 18, 20 seconds will probably be about right. It just brings it in at about the right time. Doesn't matter if it's not that precise. Right, here we go. I'm going to play the slideshow from this slide. Are you ready? Here we go.
We are committed to following the advice of Public Health England and applying comprehensive infection control measures. Our approach is underpinned by latest understanding of the science. This indicates that there needs to be a phased return to work approach to limit the risk of increasing the rate of transmission, often referred to as R above 1. We will regularly review the latest government guidance and adjust our infection control approach promptly.
That was almost exact. Was that a guess?
It's because I've been doing it for 30 years. I can look at groups of text now. I just do it sentence by sentence. And if you know how long the overall, you'll get a feel for it. And honestly, it doesn't have to be that precise. You know, think of it this way. If you're just showing somebody a PDF document, how much better is that than just saying, read this and sign in?
100 times. They lose concentration if they're reading.
Exactly. Measurably better.
And of course, it doesn't stop you from still having some graphics and visuals and a bit of morph. And you could put this audio on the slides we've just seen. You make sure that you wear a hard hat, your glasses, your gloves, you know, so you can put this audio with your visuals as well.
Yeah, that's great.
And the great thing about it is that if things change, you've got your PowerPoint here. Oh, blimey, we need to add a slide. We need to swap a slide out, or something has changed. Come in here, edit it, go back up, put your new video in, re-export your video, bang, you're online, and push it out. It's very, very quick and simple.
Oh, it's great.
Now then, what we're going to do now is, so there it is. You're going to, for next week, what I want you to do is go and have a play with some visual storytelling. Use Morph and see whether you can export a video with your completed little video presentation. And if you're up for it, put a bit of audio in there as well. So you'll have a bit of visual audio storytelling going on. Very, very simple. It only needs to be half a dozen slides. Play around, see how you get on with that. The other step that we're going to ask you to do is actually have a go at publishing this out as an e-learning program. So if I just stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to make, are you still there, Rania?
Yes, I'm still here.
Excellent. So I'm going to make you the, let me just close this down. I'm losing, there we go. Right, so I'm going to make you, Rania, the host, so that, there you go. You should now be able to share your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so what Ranya's going to do, go ahead and share your screen, Rania, and what Ranya's going to do is give you a quick demo of Content Builder. So once you've got your video, how you can get that video out as an e-learning program. So don't worry too much about taking all this in now, because this, what Ranya's showing you, we have great online help, the little videos that will show you these steps. And as I said at the beginning, Rania will also be around to help guide you through getting your first one up online when you're ready. Anyway, she's going to give you a demo here to give you a feel for it. So off you go then, Rania. Show us Content Builder.
Yes, can you see my screen? Is it okay?
Yeah, see your screen fine.
Perfect. So I'm going to log into just a guest account.
So just to jump in here, anybody who doesn't have an account yet on Human Focus will get you set up with a login so that you can come in and see exactly what Ranya's seeing here.
So from the navigation tree, I just click Content Builder. If there are no e-folders here, I can easily very quickly create a new e-folder, but I'm going to use an existing one. Let's say this fire safety.
I'll keep jumping in here. So an e-folder is what it sounds like. It's a folder, and in that folder you can put as many different e-learning programs in there as you like. So, you know, let's say you've got a method statement, Dave. You could create your e-folder with your own PDF documents that you can load up, as well as your little e-learning program that you're going to create now. So sorry, Rania, carry on.
No, that's okay. By clicking edit, I can edit an existing e-folder. The first step is to build the icon of the e-folder, but if I go next, I can start creating my training courses and adding content. If I click on create training, I need to give the code number for the course and then the title.
So the code there is whatever you want to, whatever code you want to give it, whatever referencing system you want to create.
Just to identify the course in the system. And by clicking save, I have created my course, and now I'm ready to start adding content. You can add videos, you can create questions and add documents. So if I click here, I can just upload a video from the system, from my device.
So this will be the video that you've created in PowerPoint and exported onto your desktop, ready for uploading here.
Okay, and by clicking browse, I can find, let me just find my file. And this is the video that was created from the PowerPoint presentation. Mm-hmm. You can see that it is loading. There's a spelling mistake there.
Don't worry.
It's taking a little bit time because my connection is not very good at the moment due to the weather. So you can upload MP4 files up to 100 megabyte.
Right, so that's a good point, just whilst we're waiting there. So long as you stick to your chunking and don't make your sections too long, if you stick to that 10 to 12 slides per section, you will always be within that, well within that 100 megabyte limit.
Okay, and by clicking save, the file is uploaded. I can just drag and drop the file in my section center. So this section is where you're adding the courses, where you're building the course. I can then create a question. We have a big selection of questions, from the most simple ones to the most complicated ones. For this one, I'm just going to use a single selection. Let me just copy.
Again, don't worry too much about these questions. We're going to cover that next week. We'll look at creating questions and checking people have understood. But this is just to give you a little preview of it.
From the attributes, I can make it a scoring question, and then I need to mark my correct answer for the test. And now the question is created, and I can drag it and drop it under my video. From here, you can also create sections, so you can have multiple sections in a course. And this time, I'm going to add a document following the same steps.
So when we went to export as a video, you probably also saw there was a PDF option there. So you can actually also export your PowerPoint as a PDF document. And so if you want to do it that way, that's fine as well. And this, you'll be uploading a PDF rather than a video. If it's a PDF, it will just show the slide with any visual on it, any text as you see it, but without any animation, and obviously without any audio.
Now that the PDF file is loaded as well, I can then drag and drop that on my section center as well. Let's create another question. This time, I'm going to ask the trainees to confirm that they have personally completed the training, and ask them to sign the training, which is something that you can also do on the system. Now, this can be as complicated as you want, but now I'm going to move on to the next step, which is the section that you can set a frequency and dependency to the courses. And next is a quick overview of what you have created and publish. So this training is now ready and on your account to be completed by your trainees.
So
if I go to e-learning,
don't worry too much about the administration of publishing. We will cover that again in later sessions, but this again just gives you a quick feel for how quick it is to get it up there. Sorry, carry on, Rania.
Yeah. By clicking the e-folder that we have created, this is the course that I have created today. If I click on view, I will be asked to confirm that this is the course that I want to take, and this is my course.
So this was a little video presentation that I created earlier using the PowerPoint. You'll recognize all the visual elements. Did I put audio on that one?
Yes, there is. Can you hear it?
No. Is it playing for you? So when the video is completed, you'll then be able to complete the question, which in this instance appears below it. You can also do this so the question appears after the video is finished playing, or with it. It's entirely up to you.
Okay. So I'm sorry if you couldn't hear the audio, must have been a setting issue with my microphone. So if I click on next, I can then go to the next section.
And this is then the PDF document. So that's how it would then display that. So that's the same set of slides that you've just seen as a video, but displayed as a PDF.
And then I can sign, save, and next is the end of the course.
Well done, Rania, you've passed.
This time. You can also view the responses, print a certificate, and finish your training.
And where would the certificate, where would the signature come up?
If I click on view response, that's the certificate, but if I click on view responses, you will be able to review that.
Right, okay. One more question, just quickly, because I have put a course out. Can you see out of all your learners who's taken it and who hasn't?
Yes, this is on reporting dashboard. I can come back to you later, Matt, about an instruction how you can run a report.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be brilliant if you can.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a very powerful administration module there, Matt, that will show you pretty much everything you want to look at.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks for that.
Yeah, Rania's around to give you a hand with that, no problem.
Yeah, that's great.
So this is how easy it is.
Yeah, so gentlemen, there you go. Rania has just uploaded and published an e-learning program to my watch in about 5 minutes, if that. That can go out to literally millions of people like that. Obviously, you're not going to have that many, but you get the point. It's this then is more than just publishing a video. It's an e-learning system which people will log in, it will track, it will test, it will create the record of compliance with the test questions and all their answers. It's all there, and that is completely your content that's put up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great.
Any observations, questions at this point? You want to stop sharing there now for a sec, please, Rania?
Yeah. Transfer it back to you?
Yes, please, yeah.
Well, can I just ask?
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd purchased this system,
mm-hmm.
And it's all published onto Human Focus's area or zone and stuff.
Yep.
Then how do we get our students to actually log on there? Do they log on to Human Focus, or do they come onto our website and then it shoots across to the Human Focus thing?
Yeah, so the way our system works is like any other e-learning system. Which is not part of this forum, but again, we can easily help you with that. We can set you up as an administrative user on the system. You can register all your users, trainees, whatever you want to call them. You can send out them login instructions. You can set up menus of courses for them. So you can have different groups seeing different e-learning programs, and they will log in and they can see then the courses, e-learning programs you want them to see, and they can complete them. So there is a whole administrative module behind this. I got your chat message there, Dave. No worries, not a problem. You will have this as a recorded. Dave's lost his audio connection. Does that answer your question okay, Ralph?
Yes, it's all right. The cogs are going now. I'm just thinking of setting these up. One as a closed forum for my own clients.
Yep.
But also as an open forum, like an asbestos awareness course as such, available to the public or people I come into contact with that wants a certificate for asbestos awareness.
Yep.
Obviously,
the way our system works is everybody's got to be a registered user. It's a compliance system. So
yeah, well, that's what I mean. But I've got the signature that they've been on the course and that they've passed the questions and stuff. So that's the great part about it. All that sort of stuff is I ain't got reams of paper hanging about the place and having to track these people down.
Yeah.
So it's very good from that point of view.
You can, if you're doing face-to-face training now and you want to move it online, this is where you can do it. And then you would register your trainees just as they were coming into your classroom course, send them out the login. And if you've recorded it, you got your video, you don't have to lift a finger. It's all there and you just repeat.
Yeah, and this thing don't have to go out through Zoom either. It just goes through a remote cloud link thing.
Correct. And the other beauty of this is that if, let's say your program or course is an hour of learning, 2 hours, whatever, they don't have to take it all in one go. You know, they will bookmark it. They can go in, you're creating all your sections. Again, this is why you need to chunk it, but it will record each section of a program that they've completed. So when they next go in and go, well, you've done that, carry on here.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That is, it's one of the things I've been looking at, because obviously not being able to get out onto the building sites and talk to the guys as much as, at all. It seems a great way of getting that sort of, you're still keeping in contact with your clients and, other people you come into contact with to offer them a service. So.
Any other questions, observations at this point?
It's brilliant, Ian. Fantastic. Yeah.
Good. Please, you like it. Any other questions, issues at this point? We're just about done for today.
It's absolutely superb. I've got a long way to go.
Yes, I need a darkened room now for an hour or two to get into.
I realise it can be a bit overwhelming because you've got so much information in quite a short space of time. But believe me, once you've gone through the loop a few times, you'll get used to it. It is pretty simple. So here's your task for the coming week. You've already got this little presentation. Maybe you've got some sections to it. You've chunked your slides, your sections. When you go and pick a few of, one of those sections, maybe have a look at it and just start to add some graphics. Remember Morph. Go into the toolkits, maybe just play around with some simple graphics. Even if it's just one of the still figures or still, just fly in and bring up your bullet points. Add a bit of audio to your bullet points. To copy and paste your text, put it up to video, download your MP3, drop it on your slide. and then export it as a video. And when you've got your video, we want you then to put this up onto Content Builder and publish this out as a little e-learning program. When you get to that step, Ranya's going to send you a login, for those who haven't got a login, some login instructions and some links to the help, online help, just to remind you of how you go into Content Builder, how you upload your video, how you publish it out. If you have any problems doing that in the coming week, then please feel free just to drop Rania an email, and she'll hold your hand and give you a little bit of advice through that process. But that's your objective. Can you get to the point where you've exported a video with a few graphic elements, maybe some audio, get it up there and publish it out as an e-learning program? See whether you can do that. If you don't manage to get it all through that, don't worry. Next week, we want to hear where you've got to, where your problems were, and we'll troubleshoot. So next week is as much about, right, how did you get on? What were the issues? And we can talk you through it, and we can go back over things and see where we get to. But that's the challenge. Maybe you get there, maybe you won't, but we'll see. Okay with that?
Yes, thank you, Ian.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Ian. Brilliant.
Yeah.
No worries. So just like last week, I'll send you out an email just summarising. You'll have a link to this recording. You'll have a summary of what you need, all there in the email. Go and have a go, see how you get on.
Well, thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Very, very welcome.
Right, thank you, Ian. Most
Have a great
appreciated.
week and have a good weekend.
And you, mate.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Rania.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Right.